And the music is ending, Boyd. How are you?
I'm great, Karol. How are you today?
I'm okay today.
Good, good. Well, with the music ending, that means it's time for us to talk, right?
Yes, I
It
can.
always means, okay. So welcome to episode 14.
Already?
Not bad, not bad, not bad,
Yeah.
not bad. Today's topic, this is going to be really interesting. This is alternative funding for real estate investors.
Yes.
Yeah, we spend most of our time, of course, talking about alternative funding for business owners and would-be business owners, of course, right?
Yeah.
But earlier this week, I was invited by the Space Coast Association of
Mhm.
Realtors, real estate agents here in the Space Coast of Florida. And they asked me to come be part of a panel and to
Yes.
provide a presentation about alternative funding options for real estate investors. So that was
Mhm.
a really neat opportunity to get to go do that. And so this was last Monday morning,
Mhm.
and they have a beautiful, beautiful facility
Yes.
right over there by the bridge out to the island,
Mhm.
and gorgeous facility. And we had a good crowd, and we started off with a panel discussion.
Mhm.
Myself, a lady from a local bank who was an SBA expert for real estate
Perfect.
specifically, and it was great getting to know her. And then a couple of investors who have offices in New York City and in West Palm.
Mhm.
So one of those New York firms, or they're always back and forth between New York and Florida. Anyway, they were great to get to know as well, and I
Yes.
think we'll be working with them on some deals.
Mhm.
But this panel discussion was asking, and one of the first questions that was asked of us is, when would an alternative lender enter the picture in a real estate deal?
Mhm.
And I said, well, as soon as a bank says no, or as soon as the bank starts giving you hassling you too much on a deal,
Yeah.
then that's the perfect time to call in, an alternative. And they ask questions about, how have interest rates going up or interest rates going down affected your business? And I would just had to explain that, well, when either rates go up or rates go down,
Mhm.
we're still highly sought after because, especially when the rates go up, the banks aren't lending as much, and when the banks go down, the bank rates go down, the banks can be a little bit choosier. So anyway, it was just interesting to be able to explain that we don't really see a difference. We're always in demand when
Yeah.
no matter what the rates do, because people need money all the time, and real estate investment has traditionally been, a very good thing
Yes.
here in Florida, especially. So
Absolutely.
I presented a
Mhm.
modified version of our world famous presentation, When Banks Say
Mhm.
No, the webinar that we do for business owners, but did this for real estate investors. So it's a little bit
Yes.
different.
So first of all, just meeting those people in the panel was to
Mhm.
me super exciting because it's
Yes.
networking, great connections, and we are looking forward to work with them. So that's a great win. But second,
Yeah.
I was like thinking like, how did you modify our world most famous presentation when
Really?
banks say no
Yeah.
to this group of investors on real estate? That it totally makes sense, of course. And
Yeah.
that was something that we were talking about when we sit down in our meetings and work on our goals and how we can
Yeah.
get better, things that we can, you know, our goals in the next step for Otro. And then, wow, you have this
Mhm.
opportunity. So tell me everything about it.
Well, as best as I can remember. So of course, just like with any presentation we do, the when banks say no, we begin by explaining, hey, you're in
Yes.
the right place.
Mhm.
On this webinar, if the bank has ever told you no, you're in the right place because the bank's
Absolutely.
going to tell you no. So I began in this case by saying, you're in the right place if you want to invest in real estate, but the bank has told you no, but you want to invest in real estate, right? So you
Which is
gotta,
really common.
yeah, exactly. So even if the bank has said no, this is the right place. So
Yeah.
I explained the role of alternative lenders.
Yes.
I'm always careful to make sure that people know that we need the banks, we respect the banks, we work
100%.
collaboratively with the banks,
Mhm.
but that there is a place for alternatives. Because if there's one thing we've learned about banks, Karol, over the years, it's banks don't
Yes.
like
Risks.
risk.
This
Yeah,
risk. Any kind of risks. Yeah.
they don't like risk at all.
Mhm.
And traditionally, real estate has been a pretty safe investment. I mean, we've seen it just continue to appreciate over the years,
Yes.
fluctuations here or there, location matters, that kind of thing. But traditionally, the old saying is they're not making any more land, right? So
No.
limited supply, more demand. So traditionally, real estate has been a very good investment.
Uh-huh.
So I talked about the different kinds of loan programs we have that can help real estate investors.
Yes.
Specifically, instead of the SBA 7A, which is commonly used to help business people buy more businesses,
Mhm.
the SBA has a program for land and buildings and commercial property, which is the
504.
504.
But
Yep, exactly.
but before you get into that, because we
Mhm.
wanted to touch this topic, there's like two very, very important ways that you can get wealthy. And that's why
Yes.
you were trying to also talk with them. And it's like, of course, owning a business.
Owning a business can be one of the
Yes,
greatest ways to generate wealth for a family ever.
absolutely.
Yep.
Now we know, and I'm so grateful you always recommend me this book, The E Myth, that you can have the talent and you can have really that drive to have a business, but this is not for everyone. So,
True. It's not for
yes,
everyone.
yes.
It's not for everyone.
And a lot of
Yeah,
people I encounter opening their business, like I'm good at my craft, but I'm not a business person.
exactly.
So,
For example, the plumber, expert master plumber, but maybe not so good at running a plumbing business, right? That's what the E-Myth really talks about is the difference between being a very capable technical person
Mhm.
versus an administrative or growth-minded person. Like if
Yes.
I were a heart surgeon, would that make me good at operating hospitals?
No, not
Not
always.
directly. Yeah, not directly. And so, yeah, that E-Myth beautifully
I
explains
know, I love it.
that the technician trap of
Mhm.
somebody who has a skill and thinks because they can do that skill, then they're qualified to actually operate a business. And so,
Mhm.
not always the case. Some have had great success.
Yeah.
Um, Usually, you'd want somebody who's trained to be a business
Mhm.
manager in that situation, running the business.
Yes.
But yes, owning
Business.
businesses can be one of the greatest wealth creators ever.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the second one is, of course, owning a property, owning
Property.
land,
Yep.
real estate. So,
Land, real estate, buildings, income property. Yep.
yeah. And if you're
Yeah.
really good at both and you have both, you made it. Like,
It's right. Yeah. Double the power. If you own
ye-
businesses and you own commercial real estate,
yeah.
that's a pretty good place to be.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. So wonderful. So, how was different from this presentation and this
Yeah.
day?
It was different because we were the setup when in the commercial real estate world and real estate investment, it's much more of a passive type investment.
Yes.
You're not there running things every day, hiring people, firing people, managing inventory, looking over fleets and supplies and things
Yeah.
like that. And so when we talk about when banks say no
Hmm.
to the entrepreneurs and the people who want to start or buy businesses, their biggest challenge is they just don't have the cash or the credit most times to get that business
Yes.
started. And
Hmm.
of course, there's a whole bunch of, as we've talked about today, all the challenges of actually running that business. So, in modifying the presentation for real estate investors, we talked about the more passive side of things, and you're buying an appreciating asset, and
Hmm.
there's still work there. I mean, I don't mean to diminish that at all. There's still work there, but it's different.
Yeah,
And so
absolutely.
we talked more about the alternative funding options that are
Mhm.
available for investors. And we talked about the 504, and everybody in that room has probably done 10
Knows it.
504s. And so,
Yeah.
I wasn't telling anybody anything new, but I did introduce two um, offerings or loan products that we use a lot in the business world for
Hmm.
the investment world. One of those being the syndicated line of credit, which has
Yes.
been such a big hit for the small businesses, the government contractors, and such. And the reason it works so well for real estate investors is
Hmm.
because imagine just having a line of credit waiting and available up to $150,000 is not uncommon at 0% interest for at least 12 months. Sometimes it can go as high as 18 to 24 months as we've
Hmm.
seen. But if I'm looking for a building or
Mhm.
land or some kind of property to buy, I have that down payment right there. I
Mhm.
have that line of credit available to me. I can turn it into cash if I have to, but I
Yes.
have it right there. And as soon as the moment I find a deal, I don't have to go get pre-qualified. I don't have to go get a letter of intent or anything. Just boom, put down. Here's my deposit. Here's my down payment. Hold this, and now I go get my traditional financing.
And available credit just there,
Um,
like
you can never have too much available credit,
yeah.
and so it's right there. So that
So
was one.
mhm. But a birdie told me, and this was like, "Huh, you are always full of surprises. You
Uh,
were once a real estate columnist for a newspaper, so
I
you have some
was.
background there too."
A
So
little bit. Yeah,
mhm.
a little bit. Thanks for bringing that one up. Yeah, I was actually still in college,
Oh,
and I was renting a basement apartment, and the publisher asked if I would take over the real estate section of the newspaper,
interesting.
which was its most lucrative section, and asked me to also do a weekly column about real estate in the community. And so I thought, well, that's really funny. You know, I'm renting a basement apartment. I'm 22 years old, but
Wow.
okay.
Mhm.
I made friends with lots of realtors real fast, picked their brains. The first column I wrote, I think turned out to be the best one I wrote too, because I was expressing my amazement
Mhm.
from the viewpoint of a 22, 23-year old that how these homes and these buildings appreciate with time. Because the only the only exposure I'd had to depreciation and appreciation really at that time in my life was you buy a car and
Yes.
after 5 years it's worth half what it was, if that, you know, and the older it is and the more you've used it, the less valuable it is.
Yeah.
So to begin understanding, you know, those first lessons in real estate is like, so we can punch holes in the drywall accidentally. The kids can write on the walls with crayons. You know, I can back into the garage door with my car, all these things, and the home is worth more later. I,
I
it's just,
know.
you know, given my age and level of experience in the world, I just thought, how could this be? This is crazy, you know, and just remembering what my parents paid for their first house and what it's worth now. They're in the same house. They've been in that same house now for almost 50 years.
Oh, nice.
And it's just incredible the appreciation, of course, that has occurred just in a single family structure.
Mhm.
They've kept it up and it's always been updated and very nice. But again, so yeah, that column, it was interesting because it was the first time the real estate section had ever received fan mail after
Mhm.
after we published that, and so that was fun. Um, but yeah, so that was an eye opener to me, was just that long term
Exactly.
appreciation. Yeah, long term
Mhm.
appreciation and what that means, and especially being a young renter, understanding how my rents are going to go up every single year, even though the building gets older and older.
Mhm.
And I remember at the time I made that mental shift and I understood, oh, there's a class of assets that appreciate with time, and commercial property, typically residential property, not always, in most cases, real estate is going to appreciate with time. And
Absolutely.
so, yeah, you know, if I'd learned that at 14 or 15 years old, maybe that would have made a bigger difference in my life, but I learned it at 22. So,
But now you're
um,
teaching it to your children and
definitely.
mhm.
Yeah, definitely appreciating assets
Mhm.
and those things that just with time continue to grow.
Mhm.
Um, so if somebody is looking to purchase commercial real estate, you know,
Yes.
a home to rent out or a multi-family structure or a commercial structure, you know, for office buildings or restaurants or
Yeah.
whatever, that SBA 504 is a terrific option. But the
Yes.
syndicated line of credit can help
Mhm.
get you in the door, can help you move faster
Yes.
while you then arrange for these other things to be put in place.
Mhm.
There was a
We've seen it with our phone calls with our clients, like, just
oh
like,
yeah,
"This is a great option right now, it's like what we need." And
yeah. It's always a happy thing when
yes.
they're like, "This sounds too good to be true."
Yeah.
And well, no, it's not too good. But it's so flexible and it fits so many needs of the small business owners. as well as real estate investment people.
Yes, and especially if you haven't created leverage on your business credit, that is a great tool too because you can start
Absolutely.
building your business credit if you haven't before, or just
Yes.
get into the next level even better for that next. And the beauty of it that we learned no long ago is that you can then reapply again for every.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
as frequently as 6 months, you can redo that syndicated line
No.
of credit. Yep.
Yeah.
So, keep everything at 0%,
Hmm.
possibly, forever. Never have to pay the big interest hit
I know.
that the banks feet on. This is a way to pretty much avoid that and have that flexibility.
Yeah. And even your
So,
business partners, if they want to also apply and then just
yeah,
more cash, more capital available there
yeah,
for all
yeah,
your products.
yeah. There was one other alternative funding option
Mhm.
that I presented,
Yeah.
and this one really raised eyebrows. We have three different lenders who love the fix and flip world,
Yeah.
and think that kind of slowed down a little bit here, at least in Florida, the last year. But with rates dropping again, I think we might see that come back. But
Hmm.
the whole fix and flip thing, the banks like smooth, long-term, predictable loans, right? They love that 30-year mortgage kind of a thing. With fix and flippers, a 30-year loan doesn't make sense because they're only going to own the home for maybe 4 months, 6 months, right?
And
8 months if they still
hmm
go well, and then they're looking to sell it immediately.
hmm
So to put the down payment in and get into this 360-month type of agreement with the bank, it doesn't make sense.
hmm
So the builders, these smart builders, are finding these interest-only loans for the fix and flip.
hmm
They're essentially just renting the money for a short period of time,
exactly.
and an interest only loan is not necessarily expensive, but the smart builders don't even care what the rates are because they're only going to have the loan for a very short period of time. They might make one or two or three payments on it, and then boom, they're flipping that house, taking the profit from their effort, and paying off that loan. And so there were eyebrows up, interest only fix and flip loans. Not many people in the room had heard about that.
Yeah.
So that got a lot of conversation going, about how to even more cost effectively get the money you need. How often do we say that the term, you know, cheap capital, right?
Every
You
day.
want
I don't know how
almost
many
say, yeah, I know every
times.
day, cheap capital,
Yeah.
cheap capital, cheap
Yeah.
capital. If you're doing fix and flip, even if fix and hold,
Yeah.
you're still, it still might make sense. But the interest only loans, the syndicated line of credit for investors, those are great tools.
Hmm.
And so they were all just very interested and excited, as I explained those last Monday.
Amazing. We've been
Yeah.
having conversations at home after, everything that we learned together in our everyday. And I'm like, okay, we were thinking of selling our house. And I'm like, no, we're going to rent it. And we have good home equity. So also we
There
can
you go.
reinvest that. So
There you go.
we
Yeah,
have
well,
options there.
options. And we always say options are good, right? Options
Yeah.
are always very, very good. Yeah. Um,
Awesome.
yeah. Well, wonderful. Wonderful. Well, is
Great.
that music I hear?
Yes.
I think I hear some music. So our
Great
time
topic
our
today.
time is up.
Mhm.
Yeah, good topic today. Good.
Mhm.
Well then, Carol, thank you for another great conversation.
You're welcome. And
And until next time.
yes, and you know that
Oh,
if
say it. Say it. Say it.
yes, if the bank say no,
It's not the end of the road. There's always options to look at. So if the bank says no, doesn't matter. Call Otro.
call Ultra Financial. Thank you.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.